A crash landing. In a distant galaxy, a bright blue spaceship raced through the stars. Inside, Princess Lyra of the Zinthuri looked worried. She had a mission to complete, but something felt off. The Zinthuri were known for their wisdom and beauty, but they were also in danger. A powerful enemy, the Goraks, wanted to take their planet and its resources. Lyra's job was to find a way to bring peace to her people. As the ship flew near Earth, alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed, and the control panel shook violently. "No, no," Lyra cried, gripping the controls. She had trained for years to fly this ship, but the Goraks had found them. Their powerful weapons hit the ship, sending it spiraling toward the blue planet below. The ship crashed into a dense forest, far from any human city. Trees shattered around it, and the sound of metal tearing echoed through the air. Lyra shook her head, trying to clear the dizziness. She had to escape before the Goraks caught her. Her heart raced as she opened the hatch and stepped into the thick, green forest. The air was fresh and filled with the scent of wet earth. Lyra looked around, confused and scared. This world was different from hers. The trees were tall, and strange sounds filled the air. She needed to find shelter, and quickly. Lyra's mind raced as she heard the distant noise of engines. The Goraks would come looking for her. She ran deeper into the forest, her bright blue dress blending with the colors of the leaves. Her sharp senses, honed by years of training, helped her avoid branches and roots. She remembered her lessons: stay calm and find a safe place. After a while, she spotted a large tree with a hollow trunk. It looked like a perfect hiding spot. Lyra squeezed inside, trying to catch her breath. She listened carefully for the sounds of the Goraks. The buzzing engines grew louder, and her heart pounded in her chest. Suddenly, a rustle in the bushes made her jump. Was it the Goraks? She held her breath, her body tense. A moment later, she saw a figure emerge from the shadows. It was a human, wearing a rugged outfit, with a look of surprise on his face. Jack had been wandering the forest, searching for signs of the crash. He was a soldier who had seen too much war and destruction. He felt lost, as if he no longer belonged to this world. But when he saw Lyra, his heart skipped a beat. She was unlike anyone he had ever seen, beautiful, with striking features and bright green eyes. "What are you?" Jack asked, his voice a mix of curiosity and caution. Lyra, realizing this was her chance, stepped forward. "I am Princess Lyra of the Zinthuri. I need help. The Goraks are after me." Her voice was steady, but inside she felt a rush of fear. Would this human help her, or would he turn her in? Jack's mind raced. He had always been trained to protect his own kind, but he felt drawn to this strange princess. "Follow me," he said, motioning for her to come out of her hiding spot. He decided to trust her, even though he knew it could be dangerous. Together, they disappeared deeper into the forest, unaware of the adventure that awaited them. Jack and Lyra were two beings from different worlds, thrown together by fate. Little did they know that this moment would change their lives forever. A chance encounter. Jack moved swiftly through the dense forest, leading Princess Lyra away from danger. The tall trees loomed overhead, their leaves rustling gently in the wind. Lyra followed closely, her heart pounding not just from fear, but also from excitement. She had never been to a place like this before, and everything felt so strange yet alive. "Where are we going?" Lyra asked, her voice a soft whisper. She could hear the distant sound of engines, the Goraks searching for her. She glanced back, worried they might find her. "Just a little farther," Jack replied, his eyes scanning the surroundings. He had lived in this area long enough to know where to hide. "There's a cave up ahead. It should be safe for now." They reached a small cave hidden behind thick bushes. Jack pushed aside the leaves, revealing the dark entrance. "Stay close," he said, stepping inside. The cave was cool and damp, a stark contrast to the warmth of the sun outside. Lyra hesitated but followed him in. Once inside, Jack lit a small flashlight he had on his belt. The beam of light flickered against the walls, revealing rough stone and shadows. Lyra looked around, trying to shake off her fear. She could feel Jack's presence beside her, a mix of strength and uncertainty. "Thank you for helping me," Lyra said, her voice soft but steady. "I am not used to needing help. On my planet, I am a leader. I am trained to handle situations alone." Jack nodded, surprised by her honesty. "You're welcome, Princess, but I'm just a soldier. I was never trained for anything like this." He took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart. "So, why were the Gorex after you?" Lyra hesitated for a moment, unsure if she should share her story, but she felt a strange connection to Jack, something she had never felt before. "The Syntheri have a special technology that can create peace between our worlds. I was sent to bring it to Earth, but the Gorex want to steal it for themselves. They believe that with our technology, they can control the galaxy." Jack listened intently, his mind racing. He had always thought of aliens as threats, but now he saw Lyra as someone fighting for peace. "That sounds dangerous. You're brave to come here alone." Lyra smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. "I have to be brave for my people. I will not let them down." Just then, a loud noise echoed outside the cave. Jack's heart dropped. The Gorex had found them. He quickly turned off the flashlight and motioned for Lyra to stay quiet. They pressed against the cool stone wall, holding their breath as heavy footsteps approached. "We need to find a way out," Jack whispered urgently. He peered outside, trying to spot the source of the noise. A group of Gorex was moving through the trees, their voices low but filled with malice. Lyra felt her heart race again, but this time it was mixed with determination. "I won't let them take me," she said quietly. "I need to get back to my crew. They need me." Jack looked at her, seeing the fire in her eyes. He admired her bravery and strength. "Then let's work together. I won't let them take you either." With a shared resolve, they made a plan. They would wait until the Gorex passed, and then make a run for it. Lyra felt a strange sense of comfort knowing Jack was by her side. For the first time since the crash, she felt hope. Together, they could face whatever came next. Finding friends. The sounds of the Gorex faded into the distance, but Jack and Lyra knew they couldn't stay in the cave for long. They needed to find help. "We should move," Jack said, glancing back toward the cave entrance. "I know a place where we can find some friends. They might help us." Lyra nodded, her determination growing stronger. "Let's go. We have to find my crew." Together, they stepped out of the cave and back into the bright sunlight. The forest felt both beautiful and dangerous, but they kept moving. As they walked, Jack explained, "There are people in this area who don't trust the government. They hide from the Gorex and help those in trouble. They call themselves the Resistance." Lyra listened closely, intrigued by the idea of humans fighting against a common enemy. "Do you think they will help us?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Jack shrugged. "I hope so. They've helped others before. But you have to trust me. Some of them are a bit rough around the edges." They moved deeper into the forest, weaving through the trees. Jack felt a mix of excitement and fear. He wanted to help Lyra, but he also worried about what the Resistance would think of an alien princess. As they walked, Lyra shared stories about her home, painting a picture of a vibrant world filled with color and light. Jack listened, captivated by her tales. He realized how much he wanted to see her world and understand her struggles. Finally, they reached a clearing surrounded by tall trees. In the center stood an old cabin, its windows covered with cloth. The place looked quiet, but Jack knew better. He stepped forward and knocked on the door. After a moment, it creaked open, revealing a grizzled man with a beard and sharp eyes. "What do you want?" the man asked, studying them carefully. "Rico, it's me, Jack," he replied quickly. "I need your help. I found someone who is in danger." Rico's expression softened as he noticed Lyra standing behind Jack. An alien? Here, you better have a good reason for bringing her to our hideout. Lyra stepped forward, her heart racing. I am Princess Lyra of the Zinthari. The Gorax are after me, and I need your help to find my crew. They have technology that can help both our worlds. Rico raised an eyebrow, intrigued but cautious. Technology, huh? What makes you think we can trust you? Before Lyra could respond, a woman appeared from behind Rico. She had dark hair tied back and a determined look in her eyes. Rico, let her in. If she's being hunted by the Gorax, she's one of us now. Jack felt a wave of relief wash over him. Thanks, Alina. We need to move fast. They could come looking for us at any moment. Inside the cabin, the atmosphere changed. Jack introduced Lyra to the small group of rebels gathered around a table. They listened carefully as she explained her mission and the threat posed by the Gorax. Alina leaned forward, her expression serious. We've faced the Gorax before, and we know their tactics. If you really have technology that can help us, we will fight with you. Lyra felt hope blossom in her heart. She had found allies in this strange world. Together, we can stop the Gorax. We can create a future where humans and Zinthari can live in peace. The room buzzed with energy and determination. For the first time since her ship had crashed, Lyra felt like she was not alone. With Jack and the Resistance by her side, she knew they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The quest begins. After the tense meeting in the cabin, Lyra felt a new sense of purpose. The small group of rebels, now united with Jack and her, prepared for their mission. They gathered around the table, their faces serious but filled with hope. Lyra knew they had to move quickly if they wanted to save her crew and stop the Gorax. Alina stood at the head of the table. We have to find the location of the Gorax base. It's deep in the mountains, hidden from plain sight. If we can reach it, we might find Lyra's crew and the technology they're trying to steal. Jack nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. I can help with that. I've been scouting these woods for years. I know the terrain. Lyra looked at Jack, grateful for his bravery. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate your help. I couldn't do this without you. They quickly formed a plan. Jack would lead a small team to gather supplies while Lyra would stay behind to prepare for their next steps. They divided the tasks, and soon, the group was moving with purpose. As Jack and his team ventured into the forest, Lyra stayed behind with Alina and Rico. They discussed strategies and how to approach the Gorax base without being detected. Lyra shared everything she knew about the Gorax, their strengths and their weaknesses. She felt a sense of relief as she realized that she was not alone in this fight. We need to be smart, Alina said, drawing a map on the table. The Gorax are powerful, but we know the land better than they do. We can use that to our advantage. Lyra agreed. We should create distractions while we sneak in. If we can confuse them, it will give us the chance we need to rescue my crew. After several hours, Jack returned with supplies, food, water, and essential gear for their journey. The team worked together, preparing for the quest ahead. They packed everything carefully, making sure they had enough to last through the journey to the Gorax base. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with orange and purple hues, the group gathered one last time. Lyra felt a mix of emotions swirling inside her: fear, excitement, and determination. I am grateful for all of you. Together, we can achieve what seems impossible, she said, looking each person in the eye. The rebels nodded, their faces determined. They understood the risks, but they also believed in the mission. Lyra's words inspired them, and they felt ready to face whatever lay ahead. With their supplies packed and their hearts full of courage, the group set out into the darkening woods. Jack led the way, his keen senses alert for any signs of danger. Lyra followed closely, feeling the energy of her new friends around her. As they walked, the forest became alive with sounds: the rustle of leaves, the chirping of crickets, and the distant hoot of an owl. Lyra took a deep breath, letting the cool night air fill her lungs. She was scared but determined. She thought about her crew, waiting for her, and the peace she hoped to bring to both their worlds. The path was challenging, filled with steep hills and tangled roots. But they pushed on, helping one another when someone stumbled. As they moved deeper into the woods, Lyra felt a bond forming with Jack and the rebels. They were not just allies anymore. They were friends, united in a common goal. As they reached a high ridge overlooking the mountains, Jack paused. "We're getting close. The Gorak base is just beyond those peaks." Lyra looked at the mountains, her heart racing. The quest was beginning, and she was ready to face whatever awaited them. Together, they would fight for freedom, and nothing would stop them now. The battle for freedom. The group stood at the ridge, staring down at the Gorak base nestled in the valley below. The sight made Lyra's heart race. Dark towers loomed against the sky, and the sound of engines echoed through the air. Soldiers moved around the base, their armor glinting menacingly in the dim light. Jack took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their mission. "This is it," he said quietly. "We need to be smart and act fast. Our goal is to rescue your crew and get out before they realize we're here." Lyra nodded, her eyes narrowing with determination. "We have to create a distraction. If we can cause chaos, it will give us the chance we need." Elena stepped forward. "I have a few tricks up my sleeve. We can set off some fireworks we use for celebrations. The Goraks won't know what hit them." The rebels smiled, their spirits lifted by the plan. They quickly set to work, gathering small devices from their supplies. They rigged them to go off in the center of the base, ready to create the distraction they needed. Once everything was in place, Jack glanced at Lyra. "Are you ready?" he asked. She took a deep breath, nodding. "Yes, for my crew, for peace." As the sun dipped below the horizon, darkness enveloped the valley. The rebels moved stealthily down the ridge, hearts pounding with anticipation. They crept closer to the Gorak base, staying low and quiet. Jack led the way, his experience guiding them through the shadows. Suddenly, a loud bang erupted from the base. The fireworks shot into the sky, bursting into bright colors. The Gorak soldiers froze, their eyes wide with confusion. Lyra watched as the rebels took this opportunity to rush forward. "Now," Jack shouted. They charged toward the base, their adrenaline pumping. Lyra felt the surge of courage wash over her as they moved in unison, fighting for their freedom. Inside the base, alarms blared, and chaos erupted. Gorak soldiers scrambled to respond to the threat. Jack and the rebels fought bravely, using their training to take down the enemy. Lyra joined the fight, her heart racing, as she faced the soldiers who had hunted her. "Stay together," Jack yelled, pushing forward. They fought side by side, using their skills and teamwork to outsmart the Goraks. Lyra felt the power of their combined strength, and it fueled her resolve. As they reached the main building of the base, they spotted a group of Zinthari prisoners. Lyra's heart sank as she recognized her crew among them, their faces weary but filled with hope at the sight of her. "Lyra," one of her crew members shouted, "you came for us." "I will always come for you," she replied, her voice steady. She rushed forward, freeing the prisoners one by one, her heart filled with relief. But the battle was far from over. Just as they were about to escape, a Gorak commander appeared, towering over them. "You will not leave here," he bellowed, raising his weapon. Jack stepped forward, ready to protect Lyra and her crew. "We will not back down," he shouted defiantly. The tension in the air was thick as both sides prepared for a final clash. In that moment, Lyra remembered the technology her people had developed, a device that could disrupt Gorak technology. She had to use it now. "Jack, cover me," she shouted, rushing toward the commander. As she activated the device, a wave of energy burst forth, stunning the Gorak soldiers. They faltered, their weapons malfunctioning. The rebels seized the moment, fighting back with renewed strength. With their enemy weakened, Lyra and her friends pushed forward, determined to break free. Together, they fought with all their might, knowing that freedom was within their grasp. In that moment, they were not just a group of rebels and an alien princess. They were a united force fighting for a brighter future, a bigger threat. As the dust settled after the battle, Lyra and her crew stepped out of the Gorek base, hearts pounding with victory. They had freed the prisoners and fought off their enemies. But the air was thick with tension. Lyra couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of their struggles. "Are we safe?" one of her crew members, Jalen, asked, his eyes darting nervously. "For now," Lyra replied, glancing at Jack. "But we need to keep moving. The Goraks won't give up easily." Jack nodded, his expression serious. "We should head to the safe house and regroup. We need to plan our next move before they come after us." With their hearts still racing, the group made their way through the forest, using the cover of darkness to their advantage. Lyra felt a mix of relief and worry. They had won the battle, but she knew the Goraks would not be defeated so easily. As they approached the safe house, Lyra spotted flickering lights in the distance. "What's that?" she asked, pointing toward the glow. Jack squinted into the night. "I don't know. It looks like there's some activity up ahead." Cautiously, they crept closer, their footsteps silent on the forest floor. As they reached the edge of the clearing, they could see a group of Gorak soldiers gathered around a large device. The device hummed with energy, casting an eerie light. Lyra's heart sank as she realized what it was, a machine designed to locate and capture them. "They're preparing for another attack," Jack whispered, his face grim. "We need to warn the resistance. This could be a much bigger threat than we thought." Lyra's mind raced. "If they can track us, they'll find everyone who helped us. We can't let that happen." Jack turned to the group. "We need to split up. Lyra, Jalen, and I will head to the resistance camp to warn them. The rest of you stay here and keep watch. If anything goes wrong, signal us immediately." With a shared sense of urgency, they divided into two groups. Lyra, Jack, and Jalen moved quickly, their hearts pounding as they made their way toward the resistance camp. The path was filled with shadows, and the sounds of the forest seemed to grow louder with each step. As they ran, Lyra felt a surge of determination. She had come so far, and she wouldn't let her people down now. They reached the camp just as dawn began to break, casting a soft light over the tents and gathering areas. Alina was the first to spot them. "You're back. What happened?" she exclaimed, rushing over. "We found the Goraks," Jack replied breathlessly. "They're setting up a tracking device. We need to prepare for their next attack." Alina's face turned serious. "We'll need everyone on alert. We can't let them catch us off guard." As the rebels gathered, Lyra stepped forward. "This is not just about us anymore. The Goraks want to control our worlds, and if we don't stand together, they will succeed. We need to unite our forces, both human and Zinthuri, to fight back." The rebels nodded, feeling the weight of her words. They had fought bravely, but now they needed a plan that went beyond just survival. Lyra felt a sense of purpose as she spoke. She could see the determination in their eyes, and it filled her with hope. Just then, a loud explosion echoed in the distance, shaking the ground beneath them. The Goraks had launched their first attack. "They're here," someone shouted. "Get ready," Jack yelled, grabbing a weapon and rallying the group. Lyra's heart raced as she prepared for the battle ahead. They had fought for their freedom, but now they had to defend it against a much bigger threat. With the dawn breaking and chaos unfolding, Lyra felt a sense of urgency like never before. They would fight together, not just for themselves, but for the future of both their worlds. It was a battle they couldn't afford to lose. Building bridges. The dawn light crept over the resistance camp, illuminating the worried faces of the rebels as they prepared for the incoming Gorak attack. Lyra stood at the center, her heart racing, but her mind clear. She knew that this battle was about more than just fighting off the Goraks. It was about uniting her people with the humans to create a stronger force. "Everyone, listen up," Lyra called out, raising her voice to gather attention. We have to work together to stop the Goraks. They may have more soldiers, but we have something they don't. A reason to fight. We are not just fighting for our lives. We are fighting for the future of both our worlds." Jack stood beside her, nodding in agreement. "Lyra is right. We have to communicate and trust each other. The more we unite our strengths, the better chance we have to win this battle." A murmur of agreement spread through the crowd. Alina stepped forward, looking serious. "We need to divide into teams. Some will guard the perimeter, while others prepare for an attack. We must keep the Goraks from breaching our defenses." As they organized, Lyra felt a sense of purpose wash over her. She moved through the camp, speaking with both humans and Xanthuri. She shared her ideas and listened to their concerns, building a connection that had never existed before. With every conversation, Lyra saw walls crumble and new bridges being built. "Are you really a princess?" a young rebel named Mia asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. Lyra smiled warmly. "Yes, but I'm also a fighter. Just like all of you, I want to protect my people and find a way to peace. Titles don't matter when we are fighting for our lives." Mia nodded, looking inspired. "I want to help. What can I do?" Lyra thought for a moment. "You can help gather supplies and make sure everyone is ready. Every little bit counts." As Mia rushed off to help, Lyra felt a spark of hope. She realized that their differences could become strengths rather than weaknesses. They were all united in a common goal, and that made them stronger. Meanwhile, Jack and the other rebels fortified their defenses. They set up barriers, prepared weapons, and ensured everyone knew their role. The atmosphere in the camp shifted from fear to determination. Each person, human or Xanthuri, understood the importance of their mission. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the distant rumble of Gorak engines grew louder. Lyra could feel the tension building. "Get ready," she shouted, her voice carrying across the camp. "Remember what we are fighting for." The rebels took their positions, their hearts pounding as they prepared for the inevitable clash. Lyra stood with Jack at the front line, feeling the strength of the united forces behind her. Suddenly, the Goraks appeared, their dark silhouettes marching toward the camp. The moment had arrived. "Stay strong," Jack called out, his voice steady. "We can do this." Lyra felt the weight of her responsibility. She had to lead by example. As the Goraks charged, she raised her weapon and shouted, "For freedom, for peace." The two sides clashed, and the air filled with sounds of battle, shouts, explosions, and the clash of weapons. Lyra fought alongside Jack, her heart racing as she moved with grace and purpose. Each swing of her weapon was fueled by the hope of a brighter future. In the heat of the battle, Lyra caught sight of Mia, who was helping to shield one of the wounded rebels. Lyra's heart swelled with pride. They were all in this together, fighting for their lives and their dreams. As the fight raged on, Lyra understood that they were building something more than just a defense. They were building bridges of trust and friendship that could last beyond this battle. It was about understanding, unity, and the power of working together for a common goal. With renewed energy, Lyra pushed forward, determined to lead her people to victory. In that moment, she realized that they were not just fighting for survival. They were fighting to create a future where humans and Xanthuri could coexist in peace. The final battle. The battlefield was a chaotic swirl of colors and sounds. Dust rose into the air as Gorak soldiers clashed with the united forces of humans and Xanthuri. Lyra stood at the front, her heart pounding in her chest, her weapon gripped tightly in her hands. This was the moment they had trained for, and she knew they had to give everything they had to protect their homes. Jack fought by her side, moving with a blend of strength and agility. "We can't let them through," he shouted, slicing through a Gorak soldier who lunged at them. "Keep pushing forward." Lyra nodded, her resolve strengthening. "For freedom," she cried, rallying her troops. The rebels around her cheered, their voices rising in unison, echoing through the chaos. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the ground beneath them. Lyra stumbled but quickly regained her balance. "Stay focused," she yelled, scanning the battlefield. The Gorax were relentless, their numbers seeming endless. But Lyra refused to back down. They had come too far and lost too much to give up now. In the distance, Lyra saw a group of Gorak commanders strategizing, their dark armor standing out against the chaos. "Jack, we have to take out their leaders," she said, her voice steady despite the turmoil around them. "If we can disrupt their command, we might turn the tide of this battle." "Good idea," Jack replied. "Let's go." With determination, they pushed through the fray, dodging Gorak soldiers as they fought their way toward the commanders. Lyra's heart raced with every step. She could feel the energy of her people behind her, their hope propelling her forward. As they reached the commanders, Lyra noticed that one of them was much larger than the others. He carried a weapon that crackled with energy, and his eyes glowed with an ominous light. This must be their leader, she thought. If they could take him down, it would weaken the Gorax significantly. "Now," Jack shouted, and they charged at the commanders. Lyra swung her weapon with all her strength, aiming for the leader. He swung back, their weapons clashing with a loud clang. The fight was fierce. Lyra felt the heat of the battle around her, the shouts of her friends echoing in her ears. She focused on the leader, dodging his attacks and looking for an opening. "Jack, cover me," she shouted as she ducked low. Jack fought off the other commanders, keeping them busy while Lyra focused on her target. The energy from the leader's weapon crackled dangerously, but Lyra was determined. She had to end this. In a swift move, she found her opening. She ducked under his swing and struck at his weapon with all her might. The weapon shattered, sending sparks flying. The leader roared in anger, but Lyra pressed on. With one powerful strike, she knocked him to the ground. The remaining Gorak soldiers hesitated, confusion spreading through their ranks. Lyra turned to Jack, her breath heavy. "Now, we need to finish this." With their leader down, the rebels rallied. The humans and Syntheri fought harder, pushing back against the Gorax. The tide had turned, and hope surged within Lyra's heart. She fought alongside her friends, their unity making them stronger. As the battle raged on, Lyra realized that the Gorax were beginning to retreat. The sight filled her with hope and determination. "We can do this. Don't let up," she shouted, her voice ringing clear. With one final push, the rebels overwhelmed the remaining Gorak forces. The enemy fled, leaving behind their weapons and armor. Cheers erupted among the united forces, their voices blending into a joyful roar. Lyra stood amid the chaos, breathless but triumphant. They had done it. They had fought together and won. The battle for freedom was not just about defeating the Gorax. It was about building a new future, one where humans and Syntheri could stand side by side. Jack approached her, a proud smile on his face. "We did it, Lyra. We really did it." Lyra grinned, her heart swelling with pride. "This is just the beginning. Together, we will create a world where peace is possible." As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the battlefield, Lyra knew that their fight had changed everything. Together, they had built bridges, united their worlds, and taken the first steps toward a brighter future. A new dawn. The sun rose slowly over the battlefield, casting golden light on the remnants of the fierce fight. The air was still thick with the scent of smoke, but the sounds of battle had faded into a peaceful silence. Lyra stood at the edge of the clearing, taking in the scene before her. The victory was hard won, but it was a victory nonetheless. Around her, the rebels began to gather. They looked tired but hopeful, their faces smeared with dirt and sweat. Lyra felt a sense of pride swell within her. They had fought together, side by side, and their bravery had brought them this far. "Look," Jack called, pointing toward the horizon. "The sun is rising. It's a new day." The group turned to face the dawn. As the sun climbed higher, it illuminated the landscape, transforming the battlefield into a place of beauty. The bright colors filled Lyra with a sense of hope. This was not just a new day. It was the beginning of a new era. Alin approached Lyra, her expression serious yet soft. We did what we set out to do, Lyra. But what comes next? The Gorax may have retreated, but they won't be gone for long. Lyra nodded, understanding the weight of Alina's words. You're right. We must be prepared. We need to build a stronger alliance, not just for ourselves, but for the Zinthari people and the humans. As they spoke, Mia and other younger rebels joined them. What can we do? Maya asked, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. We want to help. Lyra smiled at the eagerness in their faces. We can start by helping to rebuild our community. We need to strengthen our bonds so we can face whatever challenges come next. Together, we can create a safe place for everyone. Jack stepped forward. And we can send out scouts to keep an eye on any Gorak movements. If we act quickly, we can be ready for anything. With determination, they began to form a plan. Each rebel had their strengths, and they would use those strengths to create a united front. Lyra felt the energy in the air, a feeling of purpose that motivated them all. As the day progressed, the camp buzzed with activity. The rebels worked together to clean up the battlefield, removing debris, and tending to the wounded. Lyra moved among them, offering help and encouragement. She listened to their stories, learning about their hopes and fears. It reminded her that they were not just fighting for themselves, but for a future where everyone could thrive. In the afternoon, Lyra gathered everyone for a meeting. I know we have all been through so much, she began, her voice steady. But we have also achieved something incredible. We defeated a powerful enemy, and we did it together. The crowd murmured in agreement, their faces lighting up with hope. We have the chance to create something new. Let's build a council that includes both humans and Zinthari. We need to ensure that all voices are heard. Elena spoke up, her voice strong. I support this idea. We can work together to create laws and systems that protect everyone, no matter where they come from. Mia raised her hand. And we can teach each other. I want to learn more about Zinthari culture, and I'm sure others do too. Lyra felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. The dream she had fought for was starting to take shape. They were moving toward a future where differences were celebrated and everyone had a place. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the camp, Lyra looked at her friends and allies, realizing that they were not just fighting against a common enemy, they were building a brighter future together. Tomorrow, she said, her heart full of hope, we will start anew. Together, we can create a world where peace thrives, a world where we stand united, not just as rebels, but as a community. With cheers erupting around her, Lyra felt the dawn of a new era rising, one filled with promise, hope, and the strength of unity. Together, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, for they were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for a better tomorrow.